A little bit of background on how I met Chad. Chad was popping off in a Facebook group talking about how terrible builders are. And I have an attitude problem.
I'm really happy we're starting here.
I am too.
I'm really happy.
I am too. Like I love it because there's no like this is a friendship here. Like there is no at least for me. Maybe you're pissed off still, and that's why you came in on this.
No, but more importantly, to me, being friends, you can have these discussions,
and you should have those discussions.
And that's what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
It's who's real, because that's what I want in a relationship. I want people to say how they feel when they feel it. There's no need to hold back or do anything, because look at us. Like, we're friends now. I consider you a friend now.
I would agree. So Chad popped off in a Facebook group talking about a bad experience with a builder, talking about some builders that and I think this is probably where you and I kind of connected at first. There were some builders that have done some shady things over the last 2 years. But where I took offense was not all builders are built like that. And so we jumped into a Zoom live, and we went for a long time.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, we went for like 90 minutes just kind of hashing out the differences. Who won?
Well, so I'm going to give you my side. So there was pile on, and I piled on. And then when I pile on, I don't really I'm just more intense than other people, I guess. So,
are you from the East Coast?
No. I'm just Chad. And you have to be if your name's Chad, right? You got to be.
Yeah, you kind of got dealt a bad hand with that.
If you're not going to be smart, you got to be. How's that saying go?
If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Yeah.
If you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough.
Exactly, and that's me. So I piled on, and then it was actually some other lady.
She went quiet though. She went quiet as soon as you started to talk about it.
Because I had enough, and so I just said, "Listen, let's get after it right now."
Yeah.
And then she logged off, and then Bo was like, "Dude, I'll get after it right now."
I said, "Bet."
And then I said, "Great, this is gonna be great."
It was like 9:00 at night. My wife's like, "What are you all pissed off about?" I'm like, "I think I'm going live on Facebook right now."
And then, I just started my own brokerage, and so I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty insecure going into that debate, but we got it figured out. We got it up on the live feed. You asked who won?
The public.
We're all winners.
I couldn't pick a winner. I will say that through my eyes, I was debating the Edge sales staff. Wasn't really debating Boo.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that until, because one thing because I do look up to you. I
appreciate that.
love your angle and how you're going about this. I think it's definitely the slickest thing I've ever seen a male doing it. The only, because I don't know, this is probably going to get me in trouble, but females, I think that they have a little bit of an edge on social media marketing when it comes to males, just in terms of likes and stuff like that. So I think for male, it's a little different to be different, sexy, and fun. But my video feed, it was so just Mickey Mouse, and yours was so nice. And because you weren't looking at me in the camera, I was looking at you, but you had your camera and you were looking at the computer, and you were getting fed lines, and I didn't have that. And so I'll even go as far as to say,
It was an unfair fight.
I'll go as far as to say that you won, but I thought I held my own.
Oh, you did a great job.
And we went for an hour and a half.
Yeah, no, I think that's how we ultimately, the other thing too is I don't like doing anything on my own apparently, because he was in on that too. I had my friends in there in the Facebook chat, but I think that the reason is because
but I couldn't see that.
Correct. Yeah, you were on your phone. You were waiting for family to come over too. I think I heard somebody yelling at you in the background when mom showed up, right?
Yes.
But I think that part of what you were feeling too was that this is my business, right?
Oh, yeah.
This agent relationships is my business, and so what we were debating, which is how is Edge Homes approaching taking care of agents? I mean, you've seen it from the Edge standpoint. Those relationships are super, super important to us, right? And so I got lucky because I had a lot of friends on Facebook in people like Michael Perry that like I had a relationship with that are established in the business that have done transactions with us that were understanding where I was coming from, right?
Well, it's important to know that it's you, it's Edge, it's just the whole motif. If all the builders are doing one thing one way, what did Edge do?
We went the other.
And that's how you do it. That's
Yeah.
what success is to me. And so, but I always have respected that. And I'll admit it is wrong for me to say all builders, this, that, and the third. But I've always been impressed with how Edge has conducted their business. And you representing them, I'm sure you make a ton of money, but you're probably not even making enough.
Oh, I appreciate
because
that.
it's always on. I've never seen you take a break on that.
I love what I do. Like I genuinely, there's a lot of builders agents that I think don't love it from the real estate side like I do. They like the paycheck. They like the easy sales at times. And I this is my favorite part of this job. And Edge is amazing because they allow me to do stuff like this and call it work.
And everyone could do it if they made their way. Like
Yeah, that's the fun part.
This didn't exist before you.
No, and it didn't exist 6 months ago even, right? This is all, even like that live, I would say was like a really, really good jump point for me, like where I had the cameras and I had some of those things. That was the very start of it though. That was like towards the end of last year, like September, October, November. So like everything that you're seeing here is since then.
Oh, and it's going to continue to get better and thrive.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people too that are like, where do I get started on this? It's like you just got to start. It's going to start with your personal setup. It's going to start with doing Facebook Lives and figuring out what works and what doesn't. It's never going to figure itself out from the sidelines though.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Exactly.
And like I've got, a kid working for me now. I've got 2 agents, and it's kind of. I mean, I'm just going to throw him under the bus because he is a good kid, and I think that he'll be a star. But it's just like, listen, you go out and do these things, and don't expect leads from me. Like if you come work at private property broker, don't expect any leads from me. You go out and get the leads. That's how you survive. If I just hand you stuff, then you're dead as soon as you're dead. Like, what are you going to do without me? And so it's your responsibility to go to get the leads. I'm going to tell you what to say when they tell you no.
And I'm going to tell you it's okay when they tell you no, and I'm going to help you through the rejection that comes with this job.
We're going to go back and get them because there's nothing sweeter than being told no, and then you finally end up getting your way and what you want.
So you've been in real estate how long now?
I'll call it 6 years, probably 6 and a quarter.
So you were 28, 27, 28?
Somewhere around there.
Are you married?
Yes.
What were you?
Shout out to my wife.
Shout out to your wife.
Because
What's your wife's
honestly,
name? What's your wife's name?
Annie
Annie?
Zumpano. She kept her own name.
She's that kind of gal.
She is.
Good for her.
And
I think my wife's going to add the hyphen to hers pretty soon here if we keep going down the same road that we are right now.
Tell you what, it did bug me a little bit.
It was probably a little bit emasculating, wasn't it?
I didn't look at it like that. Really, the reality is her last name is Zumpano, and she loves her name. And like, I don't necessarily love my name, Thomas. Like,
It's not as cool as that.
no. And so it's like, and she's earned it, and she's that good. And so I'm cool.
So you were 28, 27 when you switched. What were you doing when you were 26? What did life look like before real estate?
I told you I was going to drop names. Rick Bentley recruited me when I served his table at 71, table 71 at the Cheesecake Factory. It was with 4 guys.
Caleb just told me he doesn't know who Rick Bentley is.
Okay, Rick Bentley, man, I love Rick Bentley, and I kind of did him dirty.
Wow. Okay, we'll get into that, but who's Rick Bentley?
Rick Bentley is...
Do you know Rick Bentley, or am I out of the loop?
He's with Century 21.
Okay.
At the time, I think he was one of their main recruiters, but like the director of the,
With George Morris?
Yes.
Okay. We just had his daughter on.
I know, I listened to that
She was
episode.
awesome.
Yes, I thought she did a really good job too.
So Rick Bentley, you insult him at dinner,
I insulted him at lunch
at lunch.
in front of his, I don't even know who they were. And he was like, I think you might be good towards the end, because I am good. Like I'm wanting to deliver.
But
a
I'm
good
sure
experience.
he realized that was part of the experience for you. That wasn't just you brushing him off and not wanting to give. You had all the information, which I think is super important. If you're going to come across as like, hey, jump on Facebook Live and debate me, you better look like you know what you're doing, right? If you're going to say something like,
You better
I don't know,
the full
pick,
menu names of everything.
which I'm guessing you did.
Oh,
You knew that forward, backwards, up, down, left, right.
yeah. And it was on time. But anyway, I don't want to talk about cheesecake.
No, but like I think it's important because clients are going to get that from you. Anybody that's watching or listening to this is going to get a very direct, a very abrupt is like probably too strong of a word, but they're going to get comments like that. But they have to understand that's all backed up by you knowing what you're doing. And so I think it's super interesting that was kind of your foray into the business, right? So you talked to him, and what was, in talking to Rick, what was it about what he was doing that you're like, okay, I think Chad would do well at that?
This is the dirtiest story. So I tell Rick, Rick, I get 100 guys like you coming in a week, and I tell them all the same thing. If you pay for my school, I'll do it, and I'll go make you money. And he said, okay, let's do it. And I went to a thing, and I saw George speak, and I heard that, and then I signed this contract and got my license. I'm deaf and dumb. I'm not that smart, just like a lot of agents on the show. It's funny. You listen to the podcast, and you hear my episode, and you go back, and if you listen to them like I do, there's a theme. It's like, for this type of person, this industry really works. And so I go, if everyone's going to do 2 hours of studying a day, I got to do 3. So I did 3 hours every single day, got it done in 2 months. I had a nervous breakdown when I was taking the test. I didn't know if 20 minutes had gone by or 4 hours. And I just said, screw it. I'll just do my best, and I'll know to bring it next time. Come out of there, I pass. And then I go.
And you thought, this is the world for me.
Well, I just thought, I'm so lucky I snuck one through. This is crazy. Who graded my test?
Did you pass on the first time?
Yes.
Quit bragging. But
Weird flex.
Yeah, weird flex, but okay. So then I'm going to the training at 6 a.m, and I won't talk about what they do, but it just wasn't me. And I know that their training works. I want to say that first and foremost. I know it works because I have good friends that went to Century just for the training, and she's polished, and I'll call her M. Shout out to M. And she's getting so much sharper, and that's the product over there. But for me, it just didn't work like that. And so that's when I called one of my mentors, the greatest, Chad Anderson. He's entitled. He's a developer. I think he's a huge deal. And he said, go work for Darren Mansell. And so I went in and I talked to Darren, and I said, he's like, all right, okay, we'll have you. He was going on a mission, so he just hired. I was like his last hire. He didn't even care.
He didn't care. He was out the door.
He was out the door.
Yeah.
But I told him, all right, one last thing. You got to pay Rick back because he paid for my school. And he did. And going into Rick's office, that was really tough. But that's what I'm built for, those tough conversations,
How did Rick take it?
He was pissed.
Yeah.
I disappointed him, and I did him dirty. If I'm being completely honest with myself, I probably did you dirty, Rick. But at the same time, I just knew that wasn't going to work for what I was doing. It's just not me. How they start their training is just not me. And so then I go over to Darren Mansell. I didn't know anything about it. You got to keep in mind, I'm not a legacy guy. I call you a legacy guy.
Yeah.
I'm not.
I was born into this.
Yes.
I say that all the time, right? And this is where I will fight people, and that's why I think Kenzie and I got along so well. There's a lot of people that want to act like they're this noble because their dad was in the industry, but they're doing it their own way. It doesn't matter. You've known me for how long?
Long time.
What does Sunday dinners look like in my house? As a 16-year-old, what did watching Jazz games look like at my house?
As business.
Real estate conversations, right? So it doesn't matter what you want to say, what legacy is important, and it's a head start, it's an advantage, it is, but it's what you do with it, right?
And you don't apologize for it
No,
either.
and I think when I got into the industry, that was what I was doing, was trying to apologize, like, no, like I'm still cool, and it's like no one cares, no one cares.
Nobody cares. I didn't even know anything until this podcast started. I think I may have known about Kenzie prior, but really that was just circumstance that I was, because I'm not going to lie, and no one takes this word. It's like, but I'm competitive in this.
Yeah.
So I go, how are you getting these listings? And without any knowing, I'm just asking that question to myself. And then what I do is, oh, okay, I see your dad's George. That makes sense. I'm looking for things that make sense to me, And so but it definitely was not you got this listing because of your dad.
But you did get it because of your dad. Right?
No.
At the same time.
No, she got it because she's good.
Yeah.
The fact that her dad is George is just that. That's not where my head goes. Honestly, I know for a fact that life, that just doesn't work like that. At least to me.
Well, on a purchase of this size, nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
No.
And frankly, if I'm a buyer, I like that better. Shout out to Kenzie for having some weight to throw around if she needs to in the industry, because that's just that's probably more important than skill. At the end of the day, I've seen it firsthand.
Who you know.
Absolutely.
Across the board, whether it's your dad or whether it's just, but being able to call certain people when you need to.
Doesn't bode very well for me, because I'll come at everybody because I don't have that. And so it's a fine line that I got to walk, but that is not a disadvantage, and it's not something to apologize for. That is nothing but a blessing as far as I'm concerned.
So you didn't have that getting into it though?
No, I didn't know a thing, didn't know anyone, no one in the family. And then here's the thing.
How would you describe because you're kind of a weird hybrid. Caleb's dad's a seminary teacher.
Nice.
And so you're doing things. How much was that influencing you growing up, being around me and my family?
A lot.
Huge.
Yeah. Huge.
That changed your way of thinking, I think, right?
Completely, yeah.
I wouldn't have DJ'd before if it wasn't for my cousin Bentley.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And that's great. What's better than that? Being able to work with your best friends that you've grown up with your whole life. I mean, we all lived together. And it was hard living in that house and 4 DJs and stuff. But that's so much better than the alternative.
Well, and it doesn't, even if you don't like it, it doesn't change the fact that reality is reality.
You still have to work.
Mm-hmm. Especially in this industry. It doesn't matter who my dad is. If I come in and half-ass everything, legacy schmegacy, right? It doesn't change anything.
Yeah, it changes nothing.
No, I think it gets held against me even.
I was going to go there,
it almost
but I
goes
didn't know
further,
how to,
right? No, but if I'll say it because my big, and he's heard me go at people that when their parents are in the industry or their parents are successful and they're not going as psychotic and crazy as they possibly can at being the best that they can, I take it personally offensive, because every single time someone looks at me like, oh, you work at Edge because of your dad, I take it personally because it's no, my first job here was moving furniture with this dude at 15 years old in the middle of the recession because we were the only movers my dad could afford, right? That's what legacy looks like. My first promotion within Edge Homes was to being a sign guy. First promotion at Edge Homes, sign guy. Let's talk about legacy, right?
If anything, if it was like my dad growing up, it's much harder. You would have preferred not being your dad's son, because you are held to that higher standard. And that's just what, for example, my dad was coaching football. If someone's late, we got to run to the fence, right? And guess what? My dad manufactures silk trees and plants. He sold all the fake trees at the seminary. He made those. But So he picks me up. We're late. My dad's the coach. It's his role. I'm not late. I'm just sitting there to get
You're
the
with
ride.
Dad.
Yeah. So I got to run too. So here, I'm unfairly being punished because of my dad. But he made sure of that. So if anything, people love something to pin on.
Yeah.
Because it's easy.
Why they're not succeeding.
Because it's easy.
Yeah.
But
luckily you didn't hold that going into it, right? Luckily you knew that was going to be the reality going into this.
I was so desperate because I was so sick of cheesecake and my DJing. I didn't have the magic. I didn't feel good about it anymore. I was sick of it. And I tried to get another job before selling real estate. I went into office buildings like this and asked if they're hiring. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get past the second interview. And so when he said, I'll pay for your school, I was like, this is it. Like, there is no turning back. I'm in it for 5 years, guaranteed. I'm not going to quit no matter what. And
what was it about real estate that made you think about it?
Simple. If I'm going to sell something and be deaf and dumb like I am with no skills, then I got to sell the most expensive thing.
Money.
It was money at the time because I didn't have any.
Well, I agree, and that's something that we hammer on the show is that if you get into this and you're like, it's not for the money, I'm like, nah.
Getting into
I think you're lying.
It's got to be for the money, but at the end of the day, what I've realized, because I've made money and it hasn't made me any happier.
It doesn't change anything.
No,
it doesn't make things easier at times though.
Oh yeah, the security that I've gotten from it, I'll never trade for anything. But now that I have that, it's just interesting how it evolves.
So what was that first year like?
Called my buddy. I said, do you know how much we can get for your house, I think? And he was like, dude, I hate my house. He's like, dude, let's sell it. And go over to the house and can't sell it like this. I have a reputation. I haven't sold a house, but I have a reputation. But I have a reputation. And so we spent literally from when I got my license in I'll say April until probably July, getting this house ready, painting the deck, putting sod in, planting grass, just seriously doing everything, painted, fixing all this stuff. And finally got it done. First day I get a full price offer from Angela Carlson. She showed it with another guy. I thought it was the buyer. You got to keep in mind, I know nothing. And comes in, writes him a full price offer. It was another agent from her office, I'd later learn. And then I had to be at the showing because he had dogs and he worked. And I didn't know how to facilitate that. I don't know how to do this.
This is transaction numero uno.
Very first. And so she has the buyer come. She goes, okay, we put her in a contract. We want the buyer to come through and take another look. I said, no problem. And it was down by East High, and the buyer was like 450 pounds. I couldn't get down the stairwell. And then they canceled the next day. And that was my first lesson. I'll never forget the feeling that I go, I'm going to be a multimillionaire.
You're like, this is easy.
I'm going to be a multimillionaire. And then they canceled, and then we reduced, and then we eventually ended up selling it. Funny story about that, though. I get a text from the guy the agent who bought it. Oh, we need to come back and pick up the radon. I go, what? I go, no one goes back in there without me being there.
You have to have seller's permission.
And I need notice. Yeah.
That was the hill you were dying on.
There's a rabbit dog, and they're going, well, this is just we're picking up the radon machine. They were all confused. And they're like, you've never done radon before? Guess what I said? I lied. One of the only times I've lied in real estate, because I swear I don't lie.
You said, yeah, of course I do.
No, I said, no, I've never done it. Sold new construction. I was thinking, I didn't even know if that was right. But
that's my line.
Yeah.
That's what I use.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
It works. It's beautiful. It works beautiful. So that was the very first deal. And then after that, I sold 3 more. And then it was the next year. And then I sold 8. And then either 8 or 12. And then 2018, I made the top 500. Missed it in 19. Made it in 2020. Missed it in 21. But I have an excuse for those, but I'll save it. But this year, if my deals close on Friday I should have 10 million so far this year.
Congratulations.
That's huge.
But 3 and change is riding on Friday. So
what's different about your business nowadays? Because obviously you've gone on. You're not with your brokerage anymore. You've opened up your own shop. You're kind of doing your own thing. Like now, what does the direction look like for you?
right now it's a huge humble pie, realizing who do I think I was doing this, starting my own.
You're the same dude that had that thought when you left Cheesecake Factory, though.
It's the same guy who said, just order something, make my job easy.
Yeah.
I can do this better than you, guy. And then you get into it, and it's just such a humbling experience. You're like, okay, now I get it. And that's good. Like that, even saying it gives me juice that I need. Yeah, it's different now but in a weird way, it's still the same. It's still the same as the first one, because now I don't have anyone. You know, I have mentors, and shout out to Tom Morgan. He just had his 80th birthday. I don't think that there's anyone better. I'll cry just even talking about him. Done a lot for me. But I don't really have that anymore. And it's okay, because I am up to the challenge. But it's a different, it's just different. And I'm learning, you know, I can't do this alone. Like, I need several people helping me do this if it's going to work. And so with that aspect of it, it feels the same. But I genuinely believe that there's nobody who spends more time focused on real estate than me.
Well, so what is that? How do you feel like that impacts buyers and sellers for you that work with you?
Well, I don't know.
Because there's a lot of people that say, "Oh, I put in the time. I worked 80 hours last week." And it's like, okay, great. What did you do with those 80 hours though? Like, so
easy answer. I can get online and argue with you for an hour and 45 minutes
and call it 2 hours worth of work.
Well, I wouldn't call that work. In a way, it's work, but like, just to be able to do that and talk because I can talk real estate. Literally, I'll talk anybody in real estate, and it really doesn't matter the topic. Like, that's all I do. That's all I focus on. The podcasts are real estate. I'm reading real estate. For fun, I read real estate court cases. For fun, because I want to know what happens if it goes down like this. And so, and then beyond that, it's also a lot to do with just homes in general, like how to keep your home good, you know, how to keep it in good condition, what to look for, almost like a doctor.
With a lot less schooling.
But I just love it. I've got nothing else to do. I feel better. Like, I'm probably not the most, probably kick myself in the foot here, but like, we're all crazy, right? We're all on the spectrum. But for me, I'm much more crazier if I don't have something to do. And that's what I love about real estate, is that literally I'm always have something to do no matter what.
So what do you think it feels like to work with you as a buyer or a seller?
Well, how many buyers have I put in the hospital? Do they have nervous breakdowns? Because I do tell you the truth. Like, I'm dialing it back the older I get and I learn things, but I'm so transparent, and it's so important to me that what you are asking is being communicated the way that you want it to is everything. And so with that, sometimes I put people in the hospital. You know, give them a little anxiety. Maybe they have a little nervous breakdown.
How many people have you put in the hospital?
Because I'm keeping it real. At least 3.
Wow. Do you bill that? Like, is that built into your pricing?
No, that's their insurance pays for it, but like they'll go and you know, they're usually out same day. But yeah, it's especially, it's been tough last couple of years.
Yeah,
like But that's the thing with me, is I don't sugarcoat anything. Look, this is how it's going down right now. And if you want to do this, then this is what you have to do.
Well, I think the people that didn't sugarcoat it over the last couple of years did a bigger disservice to their clients than the people that were honest.
Tell me more about that. Give me an example.
I use a flight analogy for the last couple of years. And I would tell people when you're boarding in Salt Lake and you're flying to Vegas, they prep you for a water landing. And you're like, okay, if we have a water landing between here and Vegas, we got bigger issues, right? But at the other end of that is if all of a sudden they don't prep us because they're not expecting a water landing, and we have to do a water landing, and I'm not ready for it, I am going to be pissed.
Everyone's dead, and everyone's suing everybody.
And I feel like over the last, especially when the multiple offers kicked off and when stuff kind of got really weird in a market that I had never seen, nobody in this room had ever seen, there was a lot of people that were afraid to say, hey, if you really want this house, this is what you have to do to go and get it. You're going to waive appraisal. You're going to waive due diligence. You're going to make your earnest money hard on acceptance, and you're going to be really happy about it. And that was a really tough conversation for people to have for a really long time. And I think the people that didn't have that conversation did a bigger disservice to their clients than the people that were honest.
That was a great analogy, by the way. Thank you.
You.
I completely understood that. And it's right. I mean, like, where I've had the most success in this difficult market is when somebody gives me the keys and lets me really drive the boat here. Because, like, another thing, I got so much stuff. I'm going to have to come back. I will never, what I've learned single-handed, because honestly, I'd probably never sell a house if I had to pick the house for the buyer, right?
Yeah.
It's because, like, I found that how I sold the house one time is I meet the guy out front, I go, oh, you're going to hate this house. You're going to hate this house. All of a sudden, gets in there and loves it. Okay? And that's one thing I've learned. It's not about me. It's about you. And when agents like, oh, my family didn't use me, boo-hoo. It's not about you, dude. They're making the payment.
You didn't earn that then.
You didn't earn it.
Yeah.
And it would be the same if the roles were reversed. And that's just truly how I feel. But that's when I've had the most success, is when I'm like, here, you got to give me the keys. Just tell me to do whatever it takes, and trust that I don't want these sellers getting any more of your money than you do.
Well, I think before you can do that, you have to have an understanding of exactly what that buyer wants, though. And there's a lot of people that don't
Disagree.
take that time. Really?
Disagree. I mean, that might work a little bit. Like, it does work, and I do believe that. But the majority of people have no clue what they want. And you know, it's up to you to find out what they really want, but you have to do, like, how you make a sale. How I think you make a sale is you introduce new information, and that helps them get clear. But most of the time, they don't really know.
Help them make comparisons, right?
Yes.
Help them to help figure out exactly what you want. The amount of people that come in saying, I want a third car garage on an acre, especially 2 years ago, 3 years ago, before the market got crazy, we'd field those calls all day long. I want an acre in Lehigh and like 550. Like, I'll take like a 4,000 square foot house. It's like, that doesn't exist. That's not a thing. I don't know why I have to be the person to break that to you.
Well, I've also told them, I go, because I've seen it all. I haven't seen it all. It's new every day. How arrogant of me, but I've seen a lot. And I was sitting in the car with the same guy, first guy I sold the house to. It's raining. We're at Carl's Jr. We've seen 100 houses. He's living with me. That was part of the deal. We're going to sell it. You're going to live with me. We're going to call it the Up and Smoke Tour. It's going to be awesome. 100 houses, sitting there just kind of defeated. And this is a great story. I go, he has a really nice truck. I go, Chris, do you like this truck? He goes, not really. I go, you don't like anything, do you? And he's like, I guess I really don't. Like, that was a thing. But
that he had never realized.
Yes, and what he needed was someone who he trusted more than me, his friend, to give the okay on it. And to this day, it's one of the best on his buy side. That was one of the best deals I've ever done, like, because we found this seller in a position. This is a funny story, too. My key wouldn't work, okay? He's having...
Which, as a real estate agent, if I could just say, there is no more pressure on you than when you're trying to get that front door open and that key's not working.
You're worthless.
Oh.
You're worthless.
Stuff nightmares are made of.
Worthless. And so his parents are coming, and I can't get my key to work. I know that there's this one seller who doesn't have a key in the neighborhood. So we go to this house. This was our third time being there. She was a clean hoarder. Okay, that's why no one bought the house. And Dad goes, yeah, Chris, I think this house, if you could get it for this, I think that's a good deal. Made an offer, got it. She got offered like $25,000 more the next week for the house.
And you got it on accident.
No, got it because I'm the best. Shout out to the camera.
Jonah, clip that.
But literally, like, it was the third time going there. I said, Chris, this is it. This is a nice house. This is it. And we just need a little bit more validation. But that's why I don't ever tell people, like you have to do this or it's going to be bad or whatever, because I don't know. Like, my job, real estate agent's job, is to give you all the information so you can make the best decision possible, period, end of story. Because if I was calling all the shots, guess what? They would have been bad a lot of the time, and I would have cost people a lot of money.
So what advice are you giving buyers now and sellers?
Well, the same thing everyone says. The market is coming back down to reality. It's not sustainable. The writing's on the wall. Anyone with half a brain could have seen that was just basic supply and demand here. And that's what's pushing these prices up. Now they're coming back down to reality. Do I still think it's a good idea for you to buy a house right now, today? Probably. I say probably because let's talk about it. Are you living with your parents? Buy a house right now. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, are you going to pull out the investment loan and you know, have a crazy interest rate on, you know, I'd probably wait. But really, I personally I always think it's the right time, because you never lose any money if you don't sell. And it's insured. You can light it on fire. It's insured. What other investment
What
exists?
other asset?
Doesn't exist. It's the only one.
I had never thought about that. That's
Stuff
facts.
doesn't go well, light a match, burn your house down, make sure you're covered, and then you don't have to live there anymore. You can still get the money.
I think that's called insurance fraud.
Yeah, it is. But you have to be charged with arson.
You've put a lot of. Yeah, this is why
I tell you, I've
this is
seen
why he reads the
almost
court cases.
everything.
This is why he reads the court cases. So
Don't do that, you guys. We're
Guys, that
having
was a
fun
joke.
here. We're
That
having
was a
fun.
joke.
And that's me. I'm trying to make this fun.
buying a house can be stressful too, right? So you need to have a little bit of that.
You have to.
But don't let your house on fire and then say it's because Chad told you to.
No, and it is insurance fraud. And I'm not an attorney.
So he cannot be held liable for this. So what's the best way for someone to get a hold of you?
Call me. I answer my phone no matter what. It's glued on me every single time.
Unless you're podcasting.
Unless I'm podcasting. Normally, my poor client, I'm going to have to explain this, but there goes another one. I'll always, even if I'm on the other line, sorry, I can't talk right now. That's one of my shticks is you don't have to, I don't have a family. I don't have any of these things. So I can.
Have you told your wife that?
Yes, she knows. I was married to the game way before. She's on board. She's a soldier. Like, that's what's so great. I couldn't do it without her. But honest to God, we'll turn this into a marriage thing. That's why we work, is because we both understand that we'll be fine without each other. We genuinely love each other and want to be together.
Anything else to ask Chad?
That's awesome.
You're married to the game. Okay, well, we appreciate you coming on. That's everything that we wanted to cover.
No, I'm not done yet. I got lots of... No, I'm just kidding. But what about this sheet?
What sheet?
Oh, I guess I put it in the car.
That was everything.
Did we go over everything?
Uh-huh.
What else did you want to add?
We've been going for almost an hour.
There was something I wanted to come tie back in, but I can't. So we can end it. We're done.
That's what I've learned with this is, like, there's always going to be something that you feel like you should have added. If you don't think about it in the moment, though, let it go.
Yeah.
That's
fine.
episode
I'm
2.
done.
Okay.
Thanks, bro.
Appreciate you coming
Thanks,
on.
bro.